Here I Am by Admiral Biscuit. This chapter is called Playing Star Again. The rhythm of the coach is soporific. If she listens carefully, not with her ears, but with her mind, she can feel the rhythm. The slight rocking movement, the steady pulse of the engine, the faint beat across the expansion joints. Her head starts bobbing to the rhythm, but she is not conscious of this. She hears it, but she doesn't. Her mind is wandering. She's in a sort of trance. The trees flash by, a green blare, a steady background to her thoughts, occasionally interrupted by a bridge over an insignificant stream. She's half asleep. Her eyes are open, but her thoughts are far away from the present. She knows she should be thinking about tonight's gig, but it just won't... What? But it just won't coalesce in her mind. Images of her manager flash through her mind. Manager. Waste of money. He has very little interest in much else than her ass anyway. She's seen where his eyes focus when he's talking about her next great opportunity. Ugh. Bev. But she doesn't dwell on the past much, only insofar as it serves as a guide to her future. Right now, she's stuck in this smelly coach, but one day she'll have something better. She'll be able to call the shots. She can see it. Her name will be a name spoken with reverence. She'll be one to pick the gigs, not her creepy manager. A small town flashes by, its name not even worth remembering. She woke the morning before in a lousy hotel room, a warm body pressed up against her. She never even bothered to turn to see who it was. A fan? An agent? One of our roadies? Who knew? 15 minutes in the shower was long enough to cleanse her body, but her spirit might take a lifetime of lathering to improve. It is a thought which is best not considered. Like a thief in the night, she skulked out of the room, never once looking back. The hotel room was not worth her consideration. What she may have done or not done the night before meant nothing. 16 hours. Easy enough to say, but nearly an eternity when there's nothing else to do. Like a legion of lovers, the towns and trees continued to flicker by. She's living in the past and the future. What was and what will be are not clear concepts. Her mind's eye blends performance after performance together, and who can blame it? The flicker of the strobes, the susurration of the crowd, the omnipresent haze, the glow sticks that festoon her body. All those things blur together with a constant thudding of a bass. Every crowd is the same crowd, their movements stretch out over time into a seismic event which seems significant to those in the now. But in the grand scheme of things is hardly worth mentioning, a mere footnote to history. That which is or was or will be or would have been. Long trips are not so good. They say you can rest and recover, but it isn't true. Your mind wanders, the way it always does. You just wish the trip was through. She steps out of the coach. The plaintive sigh of the air brakes is enough to set her nerves on edge. Garish neon indicates a restaurant. If they spent half as much on the menu as they did on the sign, it might have been worth a visit. Her ears perk up at the loudly voiced opinions of the regulars, but of course, it's the same as it always is. Her manager wants that look. Adromny is in it right now, he said. But if you want to sell tickets, you've got to have the look. It's not what she wanted, but she can't disagree with the success. A string of sold-out concerts, of packed auditoriums, her name on billboards. A not flattering picture advertising venues, sound systems, radio stations, and even pest control solutions. Once upon a time, it would have been a compliment. Now it's just tiresome. At least it's warm. The heater in the coach might be malfunction, or at least the grey monotony of the rain just makes it feel cold. Whichever it is, the bar is cosy, comfortable, and the food isn't even half bad either. She ignores the stares of the patrons, instead focusing on her food. She knows in a week she'll have forgotten the name of the pub, the waitress, and even the town it was in. Such things are but fleeting memories, a flip book of snapshots that skip by in a meaningless blur. If she ever wrote an autobiography, a thoughtless foreigner's working in a law office, she would not even remember the house dressing on the salad, or that the pie was made from scratch. Although she'll have no recollection after the fact, she's hunched over her plate, as if it might have been stolen if her attention wanders. Her ears are cued to mentions of her name. She's gotten a notoriety she's wanted, but her heart aches for a conversation that doesn't begin with, "Hey, aren't you?" But her tip is generous, but she knows that the monetary amount isn't what the waitress will remember. She knows that the regulars will discuss her after she leaves. They have already started. She doesn't know if it's the shades that cover her eyes that make her simultaneously obvious and invisible, or if it's her fame, but the critique of her music and her lifestyle is not subdued. She can hear every single word from the old campaigner in the next booth over. The waitress is rallying to this cause, and why shouldn't she? He'll be there tomorrow, and she won't. She'll have moved on to a new town. It bothers her, but she grits her teeth. It's a stand not worth taking. It's the price to pay for fame. A placid face fills her mind as it usually does. Calm, cultured, unchanging, the way she cannot be. Hairstyle just so, bow tie knotted in front of a starched white collar. An immovable rock in her tumultuous life. She knows what she wants, and she knows it's unattainable. For all her fame, who is she to such an artist, such an uncompromised example of perfection? Does she acknowledge her self-proclaimed #1 fans? Does she just drift above it all, secure in her art and her perfection of herself? Those were the questions she asked, but they were not the questions she really wanted to ask for. Does she really know who I am? It was close, but not quite there. She had gone to a single concert, even though it wasn't her thing. She'd sat in the front row, watching every single movement. The way the bow drew across the strings, the dreamy half-sleep movements of the neck of the cello. Her traitorous mind imagined how it might sound with amplifiers and pin spots to set the mood. But she tried to block those thoughts out. Such gimmicks would only cheapen the performance. Even the reception had been too high class. The hors d'oeuvres were dainty, the plates small. The punch wasn't spiked, and there were no passed out bodies in the corners of the room. The conversations were carried out in a funereal whisper. She got close, once, but did not have the courage to speak to her idol. One would think they were peers, fellow musicians and all that, but they were no more alike than a cat and a dog. Her idol reeked of quiet sophistication, while she was no more than a smoke and flash. There one moment, and forgotten the next. She's on stage now. She can't really say where her mind is, because she doesn't know. The platters spin before her, and the roar of the audience washes through her. She's there for them, even if she doesn't really know why. The woofers pulse with the crowd, giving it a predatory and animalistic quality which is vaguely frightening. She's pouring herself into them, responding to their cheers and applause. The night blares by, one song after another, a constant beat with no more meaning than a falling leaf. although she shouted out the name of the town at the beginning of her gig to a thunderous response. She can no longer remember it. Tomorrow, she'll wake up with a throbbing head and ringing ears, and she knows she'll ask herself if it was worth it. She knows she won't be able to answer that question honestly. Her movements are automatic and thoughtless. She is trapped in a machine of her own making, a slave to her success. What have I done? The flash pops give her no answer. It is the most important question, but she might as well be grasping at the drifting smoke. She doesn't know who she is anymore. She doesn't know if she's achieved her goal or missed it by mere inches. It is of no importance now. Only the crowd matters. Every fragment of energy she has it fed to them. And a little bit more of herself leeches off onto the hungry audience. She is them. They are her. She can no longer tell the difference. She knows in an hour or two she will be back in her stage hotel room. She will be back in her strange hotel room, soaked in sweat. She might take comfort in a bottle or in the embrace of a stranger, but neither will fill the vast emptiness she feels inside. She has finally grasped the fame she thought she wanted. She would trade it all for anatomy.